Is there a way we could kill the music, Jody? Can we get the music? Oh, it's off? Don't say anything till I give you the heads up, all right? Follow the protocol, please.
I really have nothing to say.
I'm going to ask you a question. Don't worry about it.
Well, I don't answer questions.
Do. Here we go. Ready?
This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, a cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars, the hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah, big round of applause for my co-host today.
Hi.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and thank you for joining us. Before we get to the mayor, we have a few things to get everyone caught up on, and that includes we need to set the record straight, Howie Hoffman. I know you usually want to talk about softball, but the word on the street is that you're going to run for town council, and I just want to get that official word out there, whether that's true or false.
Well, I was thinking about running for town council, and I've sit through a couple of the council meetings, and I realized this might not really be for me, because I asked the question if I have to wear pants, shoes, and a collared shirt to these meetings. And they said, most probably.
No, they didn't say that, Howie. You're making it up. So you really, being that you've already told one lie, you'd make a great politician. So I think you should reconsider that. Have you ever seen the way John King dresses when he comes to a council meeting? Always in shorts and flip-flops.
Is he still on the council?
Well, technically, yes. But yeah, so I don't think you have to worry about it. I think if you came dressed the way you are right now, it'd be perfect.
No, I was told no, that wouldn't work.
So
it was up to the discretion of the town council.
Yes.
And I'm quoting Will, who's the town manager.
Yeah, the discretion is you can wear shorts. Well, are you just fibbing with people that you're considering running, or are you considering running?
Well, I just don't think I'll ever get the time back in my life to sit through those 3-hour meetings of yay and nay and nothing being done. There's no pool. There's no school. There's no pier. I'm for the people.
Yes.
I don't care about what goes on except let's make Fort Myers Beach great again.
I think you just created your campaign slogan, Howie. It's perfect.
I also consider I'll speak to anybody. I'll have lunch with any of the developers, no matter who they are. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And if there are some kickbacks, myself, I'm for the people. I'll split it with the people. 60 for me, 40 for them.
You just come right out.
Give the people what they want.
Look at you, man.
We need alcohol everywhere. Make Fort Myers Beach great again.
All right. Obviously, you're a jokester and you're not running for office.
No, this is no joke. They told me I was too late.
You're not too
late. I'd
late.
have to go down to Lee County, downtown, and pay like $600 just to get my name up there.
We'll put the money up for you.
Well, let's just let the people decide if they want me or not.
By a round of applause, would you like Howie to run for town council?
Well, let's hear it. Howie, 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 Howie.
All right, you've been on longer than I expected.
Thank you very much
Listen.
for your attention. Listen, I'm talking here.
Sorry.
I want to thank.
I feel like I'm at home.
Thank everybody. Really, I want this place to be great again for everybody that comes and visits, that comes and enjoys our livelihood down here. Thank you very much. And on behalf of myself and all the good people of Fort Myers Beach, see you later.
A mic drop moment for Howie. We'll keep you posted if he registers for council by June the 12th. It's hard to tell with Howie whether or not he's being serious or not. So, Donia, we need to have a quick conversation with Donia. Donia, last time you saw Donia, she was unmarried on her way to her third marriage, and now she's officially married after they had a wedding ceremony on Friday of last week. Do you feel any different now that you're married?
Well, now I got to follow Howie. That's tough.
All right. We know you're not running for council. You don't live on the
No.
beach like me, but how do you feel now that you're married for the third and
Okay,
final time?
You're only going to get 3 questions this time, though.
Oh, sorry.
you're-
Did I ask too many questions last time? By the way, the ceremony was lovely. It was at the Hyatt House in downtown Heitman House in downtown Fort Myers. It's a lovely place. You get up on the podium there, and you see the water in the background. You can hear all the cars going over the bridge, like you're standing right next to them, and it was lovely. The only thing I would ask of you is, like, the next time you get married, and you get married at the Heitman House, you look like you were sitting at the kiddie table. Like, you put all of us at the long dining room table, and then you guys were sitting at a table like way lower than us, and you weren't, like, you didn't want to talk to anybody there.
We were lower. Well, you were our kingdom.
Yeah, I
So
see.
we were
I
sitting,
see.
you
Gotcha.
guys were so we were there and you
Yes.
were our kingdom. So.
It was a lovely ceremony, and I do want to say that one of the best pictures that you're going to get out of the pictures from the event was when I came up with this idea to have all the guys go over to where Mike and Donia were taking pictures and lay on the ground, and all the guys are laying on the ground. Did you think that was a great idea I came
Well,
up
you
with?
know what? I missed it. I
You were there in the picture, though.
No, I wasn't.
Yeah, you were in the picture. We were taking the picture with you standing right there. Obviously, she drank too much before the wedding even started.
I didn't.
You were standing in the picture, don't you? You should call your grumpy photographer. By the way, he was wicked.
I didn't see that picture from the photographer yet, though.
Yeah.
But in the picture you posted,
No,
I
I didn't
didn't
have
know.
that picture. Yeah, that was a great idea that I came
I
up
did
with.
not know what happened until. Well,
Yeah.
actually, I did see the picture, but guess I wasn't paying attention to.
Yeah,
what
you were
was
in the picture, don't you?
Well, I didn't see the one from photographer.
When do we
but
get
I
those
did-
pictures back from the grumpy photographer? I mean, he was like
I
really
would-
grumpy.
Well,
He was.
I think-
And then he was like, I have to get on to my next gig. Like, he couldn't get out of that place fast enough. So, no, really. You guys going to have kids or anything like that?
Oh my God! No, I'm too old for that.
How old are you?
Okay, you're on question number 3. So after
All right. Well,
this.
thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And congratulations to Mike Moore, because
Thank-
you were a beautiful bride, and it
Thank
was a
you.
lovely ceremony.
Thank
and,
you.
Appreciate
you.
it. Okay. Big
you.
hand for
Thank you.
Donia on her third and final marriage, hopefully. All right. And now the star of the show. The reason you're here is not to see me. It's to see this guy, the mayor of Fort Myers Beach and the future president of Cuba, Dan Allers.
Is it Cuba? I thought it was Venezuela.
No, we're going to move you to Cuba. I'm getting the
I thought
vibe.
that was Yanir's job.
I'm getting the vibe that we're getting ready to take over Cuba for some reason. So I did want to mention we have our new hats that are here, or Marie would kill me. We have red, white, and blue hats in honor of Memorial
You
Day.
got another microphone? Go ahead.
Yeah, and the 250th birthday that are coming up. We also have the charms. If you're part of the whole charm crawl thing that Dawn Miller put together, we have our charms. And congratulations to Dawn and Mike Miller and the Whale and What's Up FMB for the car show yesterday. Was a smashing success. There were tons of cars, and the crowd was huge yesterday on Fort Myers Beach. And it's off season, and it's hot as snot out there, but there was a big crowd.
Yeah.
So I know we have somebody special here that that you want to bring on. So
Yeah, we're going to have to adjust your
we are.
camera.
If Marie can come over and help us out with the camera, go ahead.
So
Introduce him.
there's a gentleman here I haven't seen for a little while, but he was instrumental in the reason we're here today. He's from Jacksonville, and if he wants to come up, I'd love to have him come up and recognize him. His name's Larry Peterson. He's from Jacksonville.
Big hand for Larry, everybody.
Come on up here. So a little background on Larry. I had never met this man before in my life. And obviously after the storm, when I was in the incident command, Jacksonville was here at the time. I think you had just relieved New Orleans.
New York.
New York. That's right, New York. So Jacksonville came in, and Larry is like the Swiss Army knife. He's the guy that, what do you need done? And it's never no, it's not going to happen. It's always, how soon do you need it done? So he's got, I just want to introduce him that way because, I mean, anything you needed, he got it done. Can't find electrical boxes. We need electrical boxes for our trailer. 2 days later, there's a truck backing up with electrical boxes. We need the beach clean. 2 days later, the beach is clean. This guy he's quiet, but he's very deadly and stealthy in a good way. But so Larry, tell everybody who you are. I mean, I know, but I'd like everybody to know who you are.
Yeah, I'm Larry Peterson, retired fire chief of Jacksonville,
Gotta
Florida.
hold it up a little bit.
Jacksonville, Florida Fire Department. Spent 31 years there and became a consultant. And when the storm hit here, Ian, Kevin Guthrie, who is the state EOC director for Florida, called me and he said, Larry, I need you to go to Fort Myers Beach. We've had some public safety. Fire department was knocked out. He said, can you go down, give me a week and give me an evaluation of what happened in the fire service and what we need to get public safety back on track again. So I came down for that week. And of course, we'd had one fire station was destroyed and the other one's flooded, but still operational. So he says, so I called him back with the report. He says, can you build me a temporary fire station? I said, well, yeah, we can get that done. So the long story is after all the thing we did from building a temporary city hall.
Where did you build the fire station? I don't recall.
We were building it right at the front of the parking lot there. And
we ended up moving into that area.
Yeah,
for part of the town hall. Yeah.
So we put temporary city hall in there, and with some trailers, so that we had about 70 employees. Yep. So I ended up staying here after 1 week. I was here for 5 months before I got back to Jacksonville.
Wow.
But I tell you, it was exciting to be able to come here and try to help make a difference in complete devastation. I tell you, it was hard to believe what this place looked like if you didn't see it at the time. And I come back periodically. I think this is probably my 4th or 5th trip where I'll come back in just to see what is accomplished. And it is remarkable at what's happening now.
Yes.
The first 6 months or so was pretty slow, that's natural. Mexico Beach did the same thing. It's a slow pace, but once you get rolling, and this town is phenomenal. I tell you, I fell in love with this place.
That's the way it happens.
Come here quite a bit, but it was great. And working with the mayor, it's matter of fact, I think even Margaritaville, we got a box for them. They were having problems with an electrical box there.
Oh,
and
yeah,
they couldn't find one. It was like 2 or 3 months, and it was just luck.
Well, he's the reason for all the things that happen. It's like when Director Guthrie came down, what do you guys need help with? And one of the first things when he was here is Bayside Park. We need to have a place. We need to have a place where people can go and unwind, and that was the closest thing. So we went down there. Remember, we looked at it, and Director Guthrie's like, we can make that happen. It happened. What else do you need? Well, we need to have some sort of medical facilities on the island somewhere. So we went and looked at a couple places that could possibly work. We ended up, obviously, the reason we had the medical facility down where the old Wyndham property used to be, all because of this guy.
Larry, when you were over by Bayside Park, did you happen to find a plaque that was laying over there in the rubble? I've been looking for the plaque.
Yeah, it was funny that the canopies on the top had been stored away in Old City Hall, and we actually were able to go in there and find those and bring those back out.
I remember coming over the bridge on my bicycle bike the first time and seeing you're trying to situate what used to be there because it was so bad. Like everything was everywhere. When you first come over the bridge, what did you think?
Well, we were in on the initial attack. I was a few days behind the initial attack that came in. And, fire and rescue, when they come in, we literally come in with tractors and push our way through because you can't get down the roads.
Right.
And search and rescue is the most important thing, after a storm, is to get in and find any survivors and hope that you can save some lives there. Every road was completely blocked, sand, deep sand. And so with a lot of teams, not only Jacksonville, but Jacksonville and Miami, there was quite a few teams in here originally. And so you push your way through. We do a grid mapping so that we make sure every place gets covered. There's no place that has not been a man walk through. And the stories from the fire department, which, were in some of the news and the papers and all, of people who had sat this storm out. Actually, the building right across the street from us, somebody came through the storm here. Listen, and I've been to many storms all around the state of Florida. And every time when you talk to somebody that weathered one of these storms and went through it, their first statement is, I'll never do that again.
Sit through it.
So the lesson here is run and come back. Don't stay to tough it out.
They did it the second time. When Milton came around.
It was a ghost town here.
It was.
That's smart. You save lives that way.
Yeah.
So
I think part of the history of the storms in Florida was you keep hearing it's going to happen, and it wasn't happening, and then it did happen, and so you get into that mindset that they're telling us it's going to happen, and then it does, Because
I'll tell you, Milton, to your point, it's unfortunate it takes an event like that for people to realize how serious it is or how much you can't get help. Even the people that want to help you can't get to you. And with Milton, I remember coming over the bridge about 3:30 in the morning. And by the time we got over the bridge, fire department had already been on there. It was less than 2 hours. And the fire chief, Scott Worth, looks at me at the base of the bridge. He goes, Dan, this is like something I've never seen. We've already done our sweep. The island is clear. We've got no calls for service. The island's yours.
Yeah.
So we were able to get people back on by 9 o'clock that morning. And it's because people listened to the warning to get off the island. They were able to get back on that much faster because your job was much easier to do.
Well, as long as the people are out of the way and they leave first, we don't have anybody to find anyway, but we're going to be there to check. To your point, Jacksonville, Florida has been the luckiest people in this state. We have had so many threats every time at the last minute it turns. And we have people that literally say it's not going to hit here. And I'm going to tell you, I predict that in the future, Jacksonville is going to have a really bad story because of that. Because I started to say, we think it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And everybody, they push that chance to the limit. It's not worth it. Your life is the most important thing that you can.
Larry, you have a great outside perspective of this beach. We all are here all the time, and we're witnessing it every single day. You come down and you see the rebirth of Fort Myers Beach and you can compare it to what you saw a few days after it. We have people that are saying that the island is never going to recover unless you do this, or the island's never going to recover unless you build that. But when you come down and you see what you see, what is your perception of what you see?
Well, I understand the history, and everybody wanted the old Fort Myers that they had, and that's what I guess probably the council's had a problem is you can't build back like you used to. This place is becoming phenomenal and still got a long way to go. For me to come back and see what I see now, of course, is no comparison because it was complete devastation. But I tell you, what I'm seeing now with the new stuff that's up and down here, this place, there's no limits for what this place could be if everybody works together. And that's the whole thing is, you don't like what council's doing. They're looking at the long term. You have to understand the big picture, but you should always put your word in. Go down there and voice your opinion.
Absolutely.
The mayor and the council are not the smartest people in the world, but combined everybody together, you can.
That's
make
why
a
we're
huge
on the
difference.
council.
You can make a huge difference if everybody will work together. 100%. And I'm telling you, I truly have become really attached to this town.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm telling you,
it's not like Jacksonville's a hop, skip, and a jump from here either.
No, sir. It's about 5.5 hours of good hard driving.
I'm not driving 5.5 hours to any town. So thank you for coming.
Wahoo Willie's was the first place I think that we were able to come eat a meal on the island.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
I think it was Wahoo Willie's, and then slowly things started to open up. I want to tell you one quick story. I've never believed in this PTSD or whatever have these people come from overseas and wars and all that. But I want to tell you one quick story that has kind of burned in my mind. We stayed around here. It was probably about 3 months. I was around nobody who was happy. This was a very devastated area. There was no fun. It was all business. You were always on a mission. And I had to leave here after not being off this island for about 3 months. I had to go to Fort Lauderdale to look for some trailers that we need. Actually, for the fire station trailer, the original trailer, I had went down there on a quick trip. And I can remember right where I was down there in Fort Lauderdale. And all of a sudden, there was all of these people and all of this noise, and everybody was so happy and it was going on. And I just felt like I was being crushed on. And it was that environment of not being there before. And I like, this stuff is real. When these guys are off to war, they're in these environments. I mean, all of a sudden, I was like scared to death in there. It took about 3 or 4 minutes for me to realize what was going on. But we were in an area where there was no good things going on. It was bad.
One of the things I remember seeing is the people from the south end, there was no way to get to the north end, and you needed to get off this bridge to go wherever they were putting you. The people walking with those grocery carts with all of their belongings in the grocery carts, and they just had this blank stare on their face.
The saddest thing you'll see is 3 or 4 days after a storm is going through a neighborhood and seeing these people who are there picking up the last belongings that they have.
Yeah. I remember when
Everything they have left in their life is sitting right there, and it is the saddest thing
Yeah.
you could ever imagine.
we met up with you and Megan, and we were doing. I mean, when you see that kind of devastation, you're one person. You're picking up water bottles or things, and you think, what? There's nothing you can do, but we're walking down. I think it was Palermo or Primo Street.
Yeah.
There was no street. You had to go in somebody's backyard, up somebody's stairs. I mean, not trying to say we're trespassing, but we're trying to go to where we knew there was water to bring back to people. But there were no streets. There was
There's no street signs.
Nothing. No street signs.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so, and then I bring that up not to give people PTSD, but you can see how it is now. And how it's only been 4 years. You can say it's been 4 years, but it's only been 4 years. Go look at some of those pictures now and compare to what's going on. It's incredible. It really is.
This is a beautiful town, and I look forward to continue to come here for years to come. I really have just fell in love with this place.
Well, thank you very much, and thanks for sharing your story.
Thanks for letting
and
us interrupt your
yeah.
breakfast over there.
Yeah.
It's good to see you, my friend.
Big
Great
hand
to
for
see you. It's
Larry
always
from
great to be here. Thank
Jacksonville,
you.
everybody. Yeah, man. Thank you, Larry. Thank you for coming. And by the way, I know I posted how many emails were sent in about, and I bring this up now because Larry mentioned to stay in touch with the council, and I mentioned how many emails were for and how many emails were against. That was like 60 days ago. It started 60 days back. If you didn't send in an email, send it in. Or I mean, if you can't speak in public, I know you can't say anything about this, but because it's coming up. But if you should send in an email. They read the emails. They read all the communications. Well, we're not trying to keep score of the whole thing. The whole thing will play out in front of the council whenever that meeting is going to be. But you should send in an email. You can send it to Amy, and she'll distribute it to all the council members, and they will read them all. I mean, I know you guys read all the emails. That's one thing you're all good about is you want participation on all the issues, and the more the better. On every issue.
Yeah, I've said that about, reach out to us. You may not like the answer you get back, but at least you'll know we're listening and we're taking your input in. And that's all you can hope for. We don't want anybody to be quiet because although we're the 5 people up there making the ultimate decision, you put us in that seat. So, you're our bosses. You got to tell us what you think is good and what you think is bad. And it shakes out where it shakes out.
Yeah. And I think public comment does have an impact too. Like, it's unfortunate that a major issue is going to come up in August. If it does come up in August, who knows when it'll come up, but there's fewer people here. And I do think the council takes that public comment and the emails, but takes that public comment seriously when people, it's not easy to get up and speak in front of people like that. Those 3 minutes are not easy. And, but people do it and they are great at it when they come to public comment, and you should speak your mind, whether you're in favor of a project or against
It's
it.
always nerve wracking. Even like, if I have to go speak at something or, in front of a board, it's even for me, it's still nerve wracking, right?
I told this story before, and I apologize for those of you who have heard it. I've had to go in front of the town council to speak about a permit, when we're doing a 5K race. And I know that it looks easy to do that when you're watching it on TV, but I swear I needed a diaper. I was so nervous when I got up there. I couldn't get the words
Well, it
out.
had nothing to do with being nervous.
Yeah, and I know you guys are getting ready to mock me too, as quickly as you can. But it's very nerve wracking to do it. So,
Yeah,
these guys do it. They're great at it.
There's people that are very, very, very eloquent at it.
Yeah. So the first question I wanted to ask you, and by the way, we participate. If the audience has any questions they want to ask.
And just one point of clarification, you said, an important project. I think every project that comes before the LPA, even if it's a residential property, is important because, as I've said before, I don't think whether it's residential or commercial property is going to be the savior or the death of this island, but the building blocks are. And the more building blocks that we have, that makes every project, in my mind, just as significant as the next and important. So we can talk about specific projects, but I think whether it's your house being built back, whether it's the library, whether it's the goods, whatever it is, they're all important parts of the bigger piece.
Yeah, and we had the folks from the Bahama Beach Club on the show yesterday, and they're building back a beautiful, I don't even know what you call it. They're building their homes back.
Yeah.
Down by a little bit past the Publix, and they're going to look so beachy, and those owners are so happy. And there's a few other ribbon cuttings that are coming up. I mean, all the condos are starting to reach out to us now to let us know when they're opening. There's going to be quite a few more coming up. And, once all the condos that can open up, it's going to be crazy. Again.
Well, I think we're going to have a lot of crazy moments coming up over the next few years, but they're all good crazy moments, right? As Larry said, we've been through that bad crazy moment. Now let's get through some good ones.
Yeah. And the other thing that if I don't write things down, I'll forget. I've already forgotten what it is about yesterday. So anyway, it'll jog my memory. One of the things that's going on is the beach renourishment again. Not again. It's kind of like the add-on, and some people were getting their panties in a tightwad over what's going on over there with the turtles and the birds. But that was planned, and Chad did cut a video about it.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to talk about that at all?
Well, it has to be done, and Chad, and working with Turtle Time and working with all the people he needs to work with, he knows what he's doing. He's very good at his job. Let him do his job. As long as they feel, anybody that knows Chad knows that he's not going to do something that's going to be detrimental to the environment. So the fact that he feels comfortable with it and everybody else that's working alongside him feels comfortable with it, we should all feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, and Chad, he's going to protect the turtles. He's going to protect the birds, and this is for filling in the berms and for filling in the scours, right? That part is what we need to have done.
Yeah, I mean, the beach access has got to be safe too. We have to be very good environmental stewards, but we also have to be very conscious of public safety, right? One is not exclusive of the other. You got to make sure that you're doing both, and that's exactly what Chad's doing, and he's very good at it. So let him do his job. He knows what he's doing. Timing doesn't always work out for people after a devastating hurricane. Sometimes you got to move when you got to move, and you got to adapt when you got to adapt. And we've made an art of it over the last 3 years. So you just got to do what you got to do.
And that's taking place, I think, down by your park.
Dakota. It's right down by Dakota right now is where they got the Dakota beach access is closed off, and they're moving some stuff around there. But these grants only have so much life expectancy on them. You got to when the money's there, you got to take the money and you got to get the work done, or it goes away.
Yeah. I'm going to try and smile more. I did a show last week, and then at the end of the show, I got a text from somebody. This was a Cape Coral thing. And she goes, "You never smile." And so I'm going to try and do that more. I don't think you're born ugly. You're going to be ugly. It doesn't matter if you're smiling or not. So I'm just going to try and to protect the people as much as I can by smiling a little bit. But the other thing was yesterday, the car show. I did want everybody to follow What's Up FMB. That's Dawn's organization that she's putting together these ideas. She came up with this silly bag idea with these friggin' charms that caught on like wildfire. Like people are loving these bags. And when she first brought it up to me, I'm like, oh, here's one of Dawn's crazy ideas again. And people are just loving it. Did you get your pink bag like you said you were gonna?
No. Well, no. We did. Island Cards sponsored a few bags for people that I don't know if they've got them all yet or not, but we don't personally have one yet. I think Megan ordered one today. Howie got his. So
the new council member over there. So
and it sounds like they're getting more and more charms, and there's no such thing as a bad idea. And I think Dawn and her team have proven that they are excellent at marketing and getting the word out there and keeping people engaged. So. Even what you think might be a bad idea could be a very good idea.
Not when it comes from her. It's always a good idea. So the other thing is she's planning more car shows. I did want to mention that. So just go on What's Up FMB and watch their page. They're on Facebook.
I wish I could have gone. Like I said, I'm a huge car guy. I wish I could have been there to see that. But I watched the videos and it looked like it was a great turnout.
Great. And the other, Jim is watching, and I want to mention this for our Hotka friends. Jim is watching apparently from the Indy 500. Is there a race on today? Is that today? Wow, I had no idea. I'm so enamored by the Kyle Busch thing. I wasn't even paying attention to the Indy 500. I mean, how does that happen to somebody so young? So I've been just kind of glued to that to see what happened. I mean, it's just crazy. And then you see that he did that interview where he won the race, and he said, and I think the interviewer said, "Why do you, celebrate the way you do?" And he goes, "Because you never know when it's going to be your last one." And I'm like, holy moly, crazy.
Yeah,
crazy.
It's a sad story.
So what time is the race today? Is it 500 miles or 500 laps? I don't follow racing very much. 250 laps? Okay. And by the way, if I'm a little bit off my game last night, I stayed up very late last night. I was up till 9:45 watching the Knicks game. And I know this isn't a sports podcast, but when you're a New York sports fan and you see what's going on with a team one game away from the finals, I mean, it's just you wait for it to collapse. Like I don't watch games anymore. Every New York team sucks. And for them to be this close, the last time the Knicks won the championship was in 1973, I think. You weren't even born then.
Actually, I was.
And then I'm watching Walt Clyde Frazier, who was on that team. He's 81 years old now. And it's just like you wish you live in Boston sometimes just because their teams win everything. So So I was up
Oh,
till
pipe down over
9:45.
there. She-
My workout sucked because I was up so late. So the next question I wanted to ask you about was the Seagate thing. I'm sure you can talk about that now because you don't have to vote on it anymore. The ruling from the judge was no go on the writ, which means that the council will not have to take a second look. It really, if the writ was approved by the judge or whatever the ruling was, all that meant was the town council would review the plan again. It didn't really mean that it would get kicked out. But the judge was pretty emphatic in kicking it out and saying the town council did right.
Well, I think, and I haven't read through the entire thing yet, but essentially what the judge ruled on was that the town, to your point, if it would have gone the other direction, it would have had to come back before the council to be reheard. So what the judge essentially ruled, and I'm not a lawyer, but my interpretation of what the ruling means is that the town followed its procedures to give an approval or a denial. In this case, it was an approval. So the judge, to your point, I think he ruled heavily in favor that the town did do everything right and did follow its procedures. Now, you could still have the argument about other things, but the judge was very to the point that the town did what we were supposed to do to get to a decision. It wasn't on what the decision was. It was about that we followed the process to get to that decision.
Right. The judge can't rule on what the decision was. It was just
Right.
to try and get the town council to look at it again.
He felt everybody was offered their fair due process, and the town followed its own policies and procedures to get there.
And it appeared like the judge wanted to make it as emphatic as he could so that it was going to be hard to appeal. Now, I don't know if they've spent, I don't know if they've spent tens of thousands of dollars with an attorney or hundreds of thousands of dollars with an attorney, but it was a lot of money to spend on a case that they lost. Do they want to keep spending money on to try and see if it can be appealed just to maybe delay the whatever's going to take to get the shovels in the ground over there? But I don't know. They haven't decided if they're going to appeal. I don't even know if there's an appeal process in the whole thing. But so that's where we are. What have you heard in terms of whether or not the project will go forward? The property was for sale.
Mhm.
Have you talked to Matt? Is it Matt Price from Seagate? Do they plan to move forward as far as you know?
Briefly, yeah. So essentially, obviously, I heard about the writ, and I asked him what's next. And he said, now we could start planning. So that's the essential. What that means, I don't know, but it was they were going to start planning. So take that for what it's worth.
Yeah, and the process, according to Albert, would be that if they did design starting tomorrow, it would take a year to do that, and then there's like more time for permitting before shovels even go into the ground. It's a long
Yeah,
process.
it's not going to be something that happens overnight. I think, realistically, probably, it's good. I think it's probably going to take a year for design, at least another probably year, same as what Albert said, another year or so to get through the LDO permitting process. I mean, you're looking realistically probably 3 years away before you're going to see a shovel in the ground, and that's if they're starting now.
And then they have to sell a certain amount of.
I don't know what their business model is. I don't
Right.
know if I don't remember in that case if they were going to. If I remember correctly, I think they had two separate towers and they were going to be able to do one and not have to do the other one right away. So if Matt's watching, he can comment on that. I don't remember what the particulars were, if they had to sell 50% first or not. But I mean, I know they were talking about doing like the beach club and stuff first, and if you got to have a sales center for people to be able to come in and see what they're buying. So my guess is that's probably what would be done first. But again, I don't remember the exact particulars of what they said they were going to do or not do. And a lot's changed since that approval happened. So
Yeah, you voted no on that project.
I
You
did.
were you and Scott voted no. Was that the only two no's?
yes.
And so what would you like to say to the residents that live in that neighborhood right now?
Well, I voted against that project because of the residential neighborhood. I'm not naive. I know, things can't be built back the way they were. I just felt like it was too much and too close. For me, it was, and this is why I've always had issues with development agreements, is there's not a lot of details for staff to review. And when you start looking at things, it's very easy to make stuff look pretty. But when you get down in the details, and because of the background that I have, I like to dig into those details. And the details matter in projects like that. And I felt it was just too intense for that neighborhood and too close to the street. And that's why I voted against it. But they got approved. I respect the council's decision. I respect the Ritz decision. And like I've said about every project, once it's approved, you're just as important to me as Wahoo Willie's or someone that builds a house on Hibiscus or whatever street they're building on. Once you've got the approval and you move, I just want to see you move forward. That's kind of where I'm at.
All right. Well, speaking of moving forward, have you heard anybody moving forward on Meyer's side or Moss Marina or blah 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 blah? All these projects that you guys have
I have
approved?
not, but I mean, if they want me to know, they know how to reach me. They can reach out and let me know where they're at as far as they're in their process. But I haven't heard from either of those developments. I hear that Salty Crab is moving forward. Obviously, both the 7-Elevens look like they're probably a week or 2 weeks away from opening up, which will be great. Sounds like Paul and the cottage is still moving forward. So
were they held up on? I could easily call Paul myself, but I haven't. Was he getting held up on the wave mitigation wall?
I think that's where they're at with it, right?
Okay.
In order to do what a lot of the people that have beachfront properties want to do, you're going to have to go through that process to get your flood map changed to be able to do anything dry flood proofing on the first level. So it's not a matter of if it comes down to if you want to have a space activated on the lower level, this is what FEMA has said you have to do to go through to be able to potentially change that. And I think that's where he's at in that process.
Even though there's no guarantee from FEMA.
There's no guarantee, but I think if you just look across the board, when you do things like this, FEMA looks, at least all the ones that I've done any research on, they look very favorable on it. And like I said, there's one up in Boca Grande that went through the process that is built at grade level. So, I mean, it does happen. It sounds like, Elizabeth said down in Bonita, they did one down there for one of those condos. We did have one on Fort Myers Beach recently. We got a letter that their flood map had changed on the Back Bay. So it does happen. It seems like it's a very long process, but when you got good people working on it, I think it'll get through. And I'm pretty confident that whatever Paul's going to do there will work out the way he wants it to.
And Tom at La Ola is also looking at a wave mitigation wall, which is going to be interesting how that all fits into Times Square, where he puts the wave mitigation wall, because obviously Tom wants to be able to serve on the ground level. Everybody close to the beach wants to be able to serve
Nobody
on the
wants to
ground
have
level.
to go upstairs, right?
I don't know. In Nashville, everything is upstairs. You get to look over you get to throw chairs over the top of or maybe that's just
I don't think
that does that.
Like I told you, like a year or two ago, we went over to Bimini Bait Shack, and you got to walk upstairs over there to go up and eat. And once you're up there, you get a beautiful view. It's not horrible, but I completely understand why businesses want to have the lower level of their business on the beach activated for walk up, and not everybody can take the stairs and elevators and all the things that you have to have. So
the last time I did talk to Paul, he said he was looking into the wave mitigation wall, but that it was going to cost $1 million. So I don't know.
I have no idea what what his particular cost would be, but
yeah. Okay. So anything new on Times Square? I saw you got those solar lights in, but anything new other than nothing?
Well, the staff is working through it. I mean, it's not going to happen overnight.
What are they working through?
The lights were one part of it, right?
Okay.
So you got the lights up. There is a plan but again, there's a lot of moving parts at Times Square, and going in and just putting. I know you'd love to see a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, I would.
It is
I'll paint it myself.
Is throwing good money after bad? Does that make a lot of sense? I mean, I don't know.
It's donated
you're gonna
money.
Take it, well,
It's donated
it's still money, right?
They're buying a 250-foot flagpole for Cape Coral, $500,000.
Yeah,
that's a waste of money. A 250-foot flag. They raised $500,000. How much would it cost to raise paint? 10 grand?
I don't know.
15 grand? How much would it cost?
Well, I don't know.
You're a painter, right? You're a contractor.
You do not want to see me paint. Painting is Megan. That's Megan's department. Megan.
How much would it cost to paint Times Square again? How much would that paint cost, Megan? She's shaking her head. You telling lies about your wife again.
No, I said she's a painter. I didn't say she knows how to estimate it.
Yeah, Google it, will you? ChatGPT it.
There you go. How many colors?
I actually use ChatGPT. What is it called? It's for the first time in my life today. Because I put a big Pinocchio nose on one of the candidates running for office in Cape Coral because he's a big fat liar. Yeah, do that? No, I don't want to do that.
You won't find
a smile.
Yeah, you won't find a picture of you with a smile. But.
Anyone in the audience have any questions for Dan before we move on to the next topic, which is like to know what's the latest on the beach school?
Well, obviously we got the proposal from the beach school staff and is looking through it. There's some concerns, obviously, with the timing that we need to get worked out. So I think soon we'll be sending that back once staff is final.
Tell everybody what you mean by timing.
So originally they had given us like 4 months to be able to submit the application, which is pretty unrealistic. There's a few things in there that, and I don't know all the specifics because obviously legal's got to look at it and our staff's got to look at it. And it's got to be something that is going to work for both sides that is actually achievable. And we didn't feel that everything in that initial agreement would be achievable or would be very difficult at best to do. So in talking to some of the school board members, they're very open to having a counter proposal to what that framework is to be able to make sure that we're both successful. Because I think it's very clear they don't want to be in the school business on Fort Myers Beach, and we do. So at least get to a point where we can sit down with our residents and have a discussion about how it would look, what it would cost, how we would pay for it, all those things. But until we can get agreement in place, there's really not a lot. I mean, staff is still working on some of that stuff in the background to be able to have a meeting with this with the residents and say, here's what it is, here's what we think we can do. What do you guys think? Is there any? I can tell you, I've had several people reach out that have extreme expertise in doing these kind of things.
Extreme expertise, not just normal expertise.
And they're willing to offer their services to help. So people are engaged and they want to help where they can. And for me, it's about saving something that Mother Nature hasn't been able to take away. And is that sentimental? Maybe, but I think it's important. I think if you were to go look at the history of all the kids that have come out of that school over the last 80 years and how they've had an impact in not just the town of Fort Myers Beach, but across the country and across the world, I think you'd be pretty impressed that little school has turned out some really, really quality people. And to keep that going, I think is very important to keep not only the tradition, the emotional part of it, but the fundamentality of having a community. A school is important.
Okay, I guess we'll find out. I mean,
we'll find out.
I guess it.
I know you'll continue to poo-poo it about
No,
money
I
and
don't-
taxes and all that, but
I don't
until we
poo-poo
know-
it. I think that emotionally, the people on this beach want a school.
sure.
Financially, I don't know that they're going to put their money where their mouth is. I mean, I never poo-pooed the history of the school. It's got a long history. But you know what? So did Times Square, and it's not there anymore.
Well, I think you get the answer to your own question. Within hours, they reached out to you. Within hours of hearing that we had a proposal, they said they'd be willing to offer up selling their property and their house on the island to put towards the school. So I think people are very emotional about that school, and I think there are people that are willing to put their money where their mouth is.
Right.
We already know that the resorts and all the developments that have come before us are willing to put their money where their mouth is because they've bought into the program that we asked them to be involved in to help drive that enrollment up before Milton came. So I think people are willing to put their money where their mouth is.
Okay, I know you're very emotional about this, and I'm not
No,
trying to.
Emotion and passion are two different
I'm
things.
not trying to get in the way of anything like that. I would just like to see, okay, we're going to rebuild the school and it's going to cost this. We're going to,
And you
we're
will.
going to, we're
You
going to, we're going to run the school. There's going to be a school board, or the council is going to be a school board, which means it's no longer going to be government light. It's a whole different kind of government. I'm sure at some point everybody will see what the ongoing cost is. And
Sure.
I spoke to the creator of the Boca Grande, the first charter school in the state of Florida. Did you know this? I didn't know this until
I didn't
yesterday.
know it was the first, no, but
was Boca Grande.
I
And
hear
that-
they're very successful and it's a very good
Yeah.
school.
can I finish? I know you want to just jump in because you think I'm going to say something negative about your school, but I'm not.
Well, when haven't you?
I have never said anything negative about your school. How dare you? I love that
A
school.
leopard doesn't change its spots.
I would just like the residents to know how much they're going to pay for it.
I
That's all.
agree.
That's all. That's
I
all.
agree.
And I'm not emotional about it because I don't have any kids that would go in the school and I don't have a vote. So I'm not emotional about it. But anyway, so I spoke to the lady who created the school, and she's going to be, I'm going to interview her she's in the Bahamas right now. So when she comes back, we're going to do an interview with her. And so it'll be interesting to see how you go through the process. It's a gigantic process to go through, an application process. And there is money that comes from the school district. They don't just get to cut ties if you create a,
No, there's pass through.
there's going to be the whole thing. It's just it'll be interesting to see how a charter school is created. In Gateway, we have 2 charter schools. We have an elementary charter school and a high school charter school, and we have a 3rd school they just built. In Gateway, we have 3 schools. It's crazy that there are schools that close in proximity in one neighborhood.
Well, if you've been paying attention, I mentioned it on Thursday with Jenna that, the trend across the state, not just in our area, but across the state, is people are leaving public schools to go to either charter schools or private homeschooling. And the state keeps putting large amounts of money into education, which is great. So yeah, thanks, Larry.
Thanks again,
See
Larry.
ya.
See
Good
you
luck
next
on your
time.
trip.
Now, see, now Will's watching. Now I feel like I'm going to get in trouble again. The principal of the show is watching. Keep me in line about the school.
Yes. No,
Right.
the staff is doing a great job and working with the school district to try to get an agreement in place so that we can get this going. But we're working in the background. I shouldn't say we, but staff is working in the background to get all these things ready and in place because people want those answers, right? They want to know what's it going to cost. They want to know all the details. And so do we. We want to know all the exact details. We have an idea, but until we actually have an agreement in place, how much time and energy do you put into knowing that you may not own the property or you
100%.
may not be able to open it?
I would also like to know, and I don't even know if it's possible, like, and I know it's just not the kids that live on the beach, but I would like to know how many elementary age kids are there that actually live on the beach. I know you can recruit from off the beach. I know you can have employees of Margaritaville. I met a lady who brought her kids to the school before this whole thing went down. But that would be the base, right?
Well, I think what you should do then, if you're going to do that, it's a good homework assignment for you. Look at all the barrier islands. Look at Sanibel. How many school age
care
kids are
about
on Sanibel?
Sanibel.
Well, but if you're going to, you can't use data if you don't collect all the data. That's
I'm
my
not
point.
trying to collect
Well, no, what you're
data.
trying to do is say, if there's only 10 kids on the island, do you really need a school for 10 kids? That's the argument you're going to make.
You get so defensive. I didn't say that. All I said
Because I know
was-
what you're going to say before you say it.
No, I would like to know. Don't you think that's a fair question? How many elementary school age kids live on the island? I just think that's an interesting thing. Are we transitioning away from the way it used to be before the storm because, people have moved out, or have people moved in with kids? I mean,
Well, I think everybody knows
not
the
even
answer
related
that.
to the school.
And I think you got to look at all of, not just town of Fort Myers Beach, but within a 33931 zip code.
Right.
Because most of them are either going to go to Harlem or they're going to come here. So I think you got to look at it all. Harlem Heights or
Oh, Heights. Gotcha. I didn't know it was Harlem Heights. Is it Harlem Heights or is it Heights?
I probably said it wrong, but you know what I mean.
I know what they're going to Heights for sure. So, where were we going with that?
I don't know. You were trying to close the
'Cause
school
when
down
you-
before we even opened it.
I want to be there to cut the ribbon. I know I'm not going to the ribbon cutting at Seagate. I'll be dead by the time that thing gets built. But I did want to bring Steve on. Steve, come on. Steve Duello lives. He lives in. Is it Michigan? Michigan. He lives in Michigan.
Misery.
You don't even know where he lives. This
Misery.
is his problem when he's so damn old now. Steve Duello used to have a house. Grab that mic, Steve. Look at it. Takes him forever to sit down. Longer than it takes me to sit down with your broken bones. Steve was like one of the first people I met. This shirt is one of our original shirts from Pete's Time Out because he used to cover events for us back in the day. That's how long we've known each other. And one of the, you would come on the show or you would go cover something on the beach. Where was your house? What street was your house on?
In Fairview Isles, down just on this side of Santini.
Great neighborhood, Fairview Isles. Yeah. And
We loved it.
your house was like passed down in your family. Who owned the house?
My mom and dad bought it in 1982, and my wife and I, after their death, we took it over in 2005.
2005. And, your house was hit hard by the storm. And this is a story that was told 1,000 times on this beach. Can you fix it? Do you have the money to fix it? Is it below the 50% rule, or do you sell the property? And you went through that whole process, didn't you?
More than once.
Yeah, we went through it more than one time. My wife and I were there cleaning the place out and doing what we could after Ian. And actually, Dan Allers came down the street on a golf cart and asked what we were doing with the house. And I said, we're undecided. And he said, well, do you mind if we walk in and take a look? Yeah, come on in. So a contractor and Dan came into the house, and Dan stressed that it was worth saving. So we started looking into it. We did remodel it. Took a year just about a year. Had it remodeled.
How much money did you put into it?
220, 240, 240 grand.
Holy moly. Wow.
And insurance took care of a lot of that.
Oh, good. Good for you.
But
You don't hear that a lot.
the contractor replaced everything from underground piping all the way electric, plumbing, the whole to the ceiling.
Yeah.
We had just gotten our certificate of completion 2 weeks before Helene hit. We hadn't even been down from St. Louis to look at the place yet, and 12 more inches of water in there.
Oh, from Helene, which wasn't even as bad as Milton.
Oh no. And then, a contractor said he could put it back together for a relatively low amount of money. And we were considering that. And then a week and a half, 2 weeks later, Milton put 24 inches of water in the house.
Good grief.
So that's when I put up the white flag and said, I give up. I had the
You love
heartbreak.
that house, though, man. That I mean, it's just
Yeah,
it had the emotions of that had to be incredible.
Yeah, well, it's 3 years later, and I'm still, both my wife and I are both hurt over it badly, and emotional about it, and just heartsick that we lost, because it was a family home since 1982. Got a lot of
Crazy.
memories there.
And so you put it up for sale and sold it.
And we sold it. We on the market for about 1.25 years, and sold it by owner, and we got a fair price. Not exactly what we wanted, but we did pretty good.
And the reason you come down is because you also have a condo on the south end, right?
Yeah, just off the south end of the island in Lovers Key Resort.
Yeah. So when you come down to the beach now and see what you see, what do you think?
I was just telling Megan, when you come over the Sky Bridge and drive south on Estero, and I'm not here often, so when I see something, it's after I haven't seen it for quite a while. Driving south on Estero, actually all the way up to Fairview Isles, maybe, or maybe Santini, it's in really, really good shape, and it looks like the island's back. There are some empty lots, but the island looks good. It's when you get past Santini Plaza where there's just a lot of small homes missing and still work to be done. So the south end, I don't think, is keeping up with the north end, but the island overall looks a heck of a lot better than it did 3 years ago. I can tell you that.
No, you've asked all my questions. I don't know.
Why are you against the beach school? I mean, Dan wants to know why you're against the beach school.
Knucklehead.
Just kidding, Steve. Just kidding. What do you miss the most?
Ed wants me to ask how many kids actually live on the island.
No, don't ask that. He doesn't. I don't really even
I don't know
care.
the answer.
There's probably 1,000. They're all hiding somewhere.
Every Sunday there's one extra one.
What do you miss most about being here every day?
We're simple people, so I don't miss the commercial part of it all that much. The restaurants that are missing, we don't miss a whole lot of that. I miss riding a bike. I miss riding the bike on the streets after dinner. I miss walking the beach. I miss being in the boat and taking the little 16-foot skiff down to Wiggins Pass and back, and all that stuff. Looking for shells.
Yeah.
I miss my birds. My backyard shorebirds were buddies of mine, a heron and an egret and a couple others, but I miss them. That's the stuff I miss.
I got to tell a quick funny story about Steve. I was at a ribbon cutting.
boy.
I can't remember which one it was. And I was talking to Bill Green, and Bill lives across the street from the ribbon cutting. And we were talking about you. And what happened was Steve used to have a scooter. I don't know. Do you still have the scooter?
No, it went underwater.
So Bill, he must live on the second floor on Estero Boulevard, and he sees Steve coming down Estero Boulevard South on a scooter. So he yells out Steve's name. Steve looks up to wave at Bill and doesn't realize that the traffic in front of him has stopped and rams right into the car in front of him, goes flying down. He comes in this show that it had to be on a Saturday. He comes in the show the next day. He's got Band-Aids and bandages all over his face. You remember that day?
I remember it vividly.
I'm sorry, we were laughing at you for doing that. But you got up and you were fine.
Bleeding everywhere.
Did they call the ambulance? Well,
no. They wanted to
because you were
but
too
no.
embarrassed for that. Right?
No, I don't do that.
Did you damage the car in front?
No, and she actually felt guilty.
Yeah,
but whatever.
The good old days, right?
Yeah, it launched off. It was about 25 mile an hour when I hit it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Tuck and roll.
Right on the sidewalk with your scooter, like everyone else does on this island.
I should have.
Oh, so how long are you here for?
Just 6 days.
6 days, great.
Yeah.
Is your wife here too?
Nope.
Oh, bummer. It would have
She
been nice.
babysitting in St. Louis.
Yeah, it would have been much nicer to see her than you. But thanks for coming into the show.
thanks.
Well, he's on a roll today, isn't he?
All right, big hand for Steve DeWello, everybody.
Good to see you,
Yeah, thank you.
Ed is mean.
I know. I'm trying to smile more.
That's
though.
to be his next T-shirt. Ed is mean.
Oh, so what else is going on? I wanted to make sure we mentioned tomorrow. It is Memorial Day, and I never can make it through a Memorial Day without crying like a baby when we do the show, because I'm so in awe of the veterans that we have on the show. And I know it's not about the veterans, but you can only talk to the veterans about the folks that passed away. And we start the show at 10 o'clock tomorrow. The VFW opens at 9:30. They're going to have a 21-gun salute. The Marines are going to be there. Will is going to be on the show because he's an Army veteran. And we also have Joe Kaczynski, who lives on the island, and I think he's a Korean War veteran. He got the Quilt of Valor from that organization earlier this year at the library. And we're going to interview veterans, and hopefully you're going to be there because I'm not going to be able to say much.
Yeah, no, I'll be there. If you get a chance, what were we watching this morning with that gentleman? It was a World War II vet. What station was it? What Gulf Coast News, and they were doing a story on a gentleman that was a helicopter pilot in Vietnam, and he had gotten shot down 4 times, and he had to be rescued twice. And we didn't get to catch the entire story, so I want to go back and watch it. But he was talking about all the people that, you know, what did he say? He got a gold star or a silver star, and he was talking about all the people he lost, not about what he accomplished. And he got emotional, and it was hard to watch.
We had Tony, the commander of the VFW, on the show yesterday, and I
got to go back and watch it.
Yeah, he looks so young, and he just got promoted to commander, and he was in Beirut. If you watch the story, I apologize. If you watch the show, I apologize. But he was in Beirut when the Marine barracks got attacked, and 241 Marines were killed. And so he also went to Grenada. I mean, he's been around the world, and he's going to be on the show tomorrow too. And he's 100%. And I talk about this a lot because it bugs me. He's 100% disabled, but it has nothing to do with physical disabilities. Obviously, he's seen a lot of things that people will never see, and you can't unsee those things. And the thing that bugs me is the way that we handle the suicide of veterans, and I don't know that there's ever an answer to that, but it just doesn't seem like it's getting better, you know.
No, it doesn't.
Or what the answer is. I mean, who knows what the answer is or why it happens. There's probably no answer to why it happens, but the numbers are they never seem to go down, and that's the unfortunate thing because they did so much, and then I don't know why we can't get the numbers down. Do you know?
No, I don't know. And, you know, Memorial Day is always a tough day for everybody. My father served and his brother served and my grandfather served and knowing a lot of people. One of my very good friends back in Minnesota did 3 tours in Vietnam. So I've had the fortunate, you know, my life to be around people that have served and protected why we get to sit and do this every day. So
yeah, and I think of myself as less of a person for not doing that. That's how.
Well, yeah, you know, I tried, but I got rejected.
Yeah,
I know it's hard to believe, but they wouldn't let me in the Navy.
True story. What's wrong with you?
Well, I've got this thing from when I was a kid.
You told that story.
Yeah, and then so it was at a time when it wasn't as important, I guess, for recruiting. So they told me I couldn't go.
Gotcha. What was it? Friday. On Friday, I went to the Brotherhood of Heroes Museum in Cape Coral, and I knew Chris Camerata, and he had told me he was on the USS Nimitz in 1981. Unfortunately, when he told me that, I didn't know what the story was, so I made sure to know what the story was the next time I saw him, which was Friday. He has a replica of the Nimitz in the back. He was on that ship when the accident happened. And the accident, if you didn't know, it was a plane. You know how they land these planes on like a dime on these ships out in the ocean. They land. I don't even know how they do it, but they land. Well, one of the ships didn't land the right way, and it ran into some of the other vehicles on the ship and exploded. And then all of a sudden the fuel's exploding, and I don't know how many told me the exact number of people that were killed on there. And he was there. You know, and he's pointing out to the spot where he was supposed to be, but the guy that was there got killed, and he was on the other side. I mean, that's the kind of thing where I think it would give you PTSD. Right. I mean, knowing that your buddy was in the spot that you were going to be either the day before, the day after, and that kind of crazy stuff happens. So, I mean, that's a great place. If you've never gone to the Brotherhood of Heroes Museum in Cape Coral, it's right over the bridge on Del Prado. You make a right on Del Prado. It really is cool. They got a Jeep on the inside. They got a lot of memorabilia in there. It's a cool place. So,
yeah. Well, on another note, you know, speaking of veterans and Memorial Day, a very dear friend to the island and to myself lost his wife unexpectedly last week, and it was heart-wrenching to see his post, and it was so unexpected that. You know, we just saw them both at the Mound House a few days before that.
Talking about Ray Sandelli.
Yeah, Ray Sandelli.
He's been on the show many times.
Who was also a veteran. He was a Navy pilot. and he lost his wife unexpectedly last week, and so our hearts are with him. But on a lighter note,
Yeah, get to a lighter note,
so
please. Let's
So,
bring
yeah,
it back.
yeah,
I mean,
right. So on a lighter note, I've been in the market for a truck. The lease on my current truck is almost up, so I've been trying to get back. Long story longer. Megan, we always wanted to be just a one car payment type of household. So I had a junker truck, and Megan's like, as soon as we pay off our Jeep, you can go get what you want. So 8 months before the storm, I went out and got the truck that I had always wanted, and obviously 8 months later, that truck disappeared. So I was back to driving, and I actually went over to the other coast to get a truck because Megan's like, you're going to need a truck. You're going to need a truck. I don't need a car. So I went over to the other coast to look at a truck, and she had to come back. So I was going to leave the other coast with a vehicle to get back. And as I'm talking about the truck that I was looking at, across the street is where her now Jeep was sitting. And she had lost her Jeep, and she loved her Jeep. So I ended up going across the street and buying the Jeep and driving the Jeep back. And we were in a hotel that day. And this is a really long story, but you'll get a kick out of it at the end. So I get back, and there's an old beat up Dodge sitting in the parking lot with garbage all over the hood. And she still has no idea that I bought the Jeep and not the truck. So I get back, and I was like, come on downstairs. We got to get somewhere. So I'm standing next to this truck, and she comes out, and the look on her face is, well, as long as you like it, honey. So anyway, she got her Jeep. So I'm leasing a truck. So I'm in the market for looking at a truck. I had found one similar but used to what I had before. So that deal falls through. The guy decides he's going to sell it to someone else. So one pops up yesterday, because I'm looking for a specific color, specific style, specific everything, and it pops up, but it's so over the top that this is not my style. But I got to go look at it. So we go look at it, and I said, well, I've got to have it now. It's so. I apologize in advance when you see me driving this thing. You're going to go, what is he thinking? But I had to have it. I just had to have it. So it's got this air horn on it. And so it's in this guy's garage. He won't, look like it was going to rain. So he doesn't pull the truck out if it's going to rain, right? So it's in his garage. And I forgot to tell her that it has this air horn. Well, I didn't know he was going to set the air horn off in the garage with Megan standing there. She was so pissed off, and the look on her face was like, this is ridiculous.
I'd appreciate if you give me a warning when you're going to tell a story so I can go to the bathroom. I could have gone number 2 for that length of time. I mean, holy moly.
Yeah. So
there's more.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. I can't wait to the end.
No, so that is the end, but the whole horn so his wife comes out about 10 minutes later, and how either she's used to hearing that horn go off in the garage, or I don't know. So she comes out, and we're kind of still giggling about it. And he's like, I set the horn off, and she looks at him. She goes, did you at least give her a heads up first? No.
All righty. Thank you. Can you give him a big round of applause for that story?
Oh, let's go back to how Ed wants to shut the school down.
Oh, come on. How dare you? So on Thursday, we this show that we have, I hope you guys can follow the talk of Southwest Florida. I mean, it's starting to catch on. We've had great guests. This Thursday, we have Matt DeWelder on. I don't know why we're interviewing Matt DeWelder. It just seemed like it was a cool thing to do because he really knows how to use social media. He's running for agriculture commissioner. I don't even know what that is. So like, why isn't there an agriculture commissioner?
Matt Caldwell ran for that same position.
Oh, he did? Yeah. I did not know that. And our second guest is Susan France, who is running for the position that Jenna had to relinquish now that she's the supervisor of elections. I'm glad I remembered to say Jenna's name because one of the posts that I made yesterday was one of the things that bugs me about local politics is that, and I try never to say Democrat or Republican because you have a chance to piss off half the people that watch you, even though there's no such thing as half the crowd being Democrats in Florida, no matter what city you're in. But the thing is that you have these certain people that run for office that lose all the time in Southwest Florida, and then they complain that the machine is rigged. The machine isn't rigged. There's just a machine of Republicans in Southwest Florida that win. If your message isn't getting across with enough people to vote you in, you will lose. You can blame it on the machine all you want, but that's what Florida wants, or there would be a different machine. You want to be in that machine? move to California or move to a different colored state where there's that machine. Illinois is probably more of a blue machine, right? I mean,
Well,
there are states that swing the other way.
Well, it's unfortunate we've gotten to a place in society where people are angry with people who are successful at their job.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to get people, I see people going after Terry Miller all the time. The guy's good at his job. He's good at getting people
Yeah.
elected. That's his
That
job.
is his job.
If he
And-
doesn't get people elected, then he didn't, he it wasn't as good a job as he did get people elected. Does he put out flyers? Sure, but he doesn't win all the time. I could tell
No,
you that.
right.
He doesn't win all the time. So
a lot of the time he does, but not all the time.
But he knows how to get information
Yeah.
out. He's very knowledgeable and tells you what you have to do to win. And so if you follow advice from people that know what they're doing, you'll be successful. If you don't,
Yeah,
you
and now I forgot what I was going to say about
Yeah,
that.
that
Oh no, we
happens.
had Jenna on the show, and I don't know if it's disrespectful to call her Jenna, but they're like friends of ours. Jenna and David, they're all friends of ours. So that's kind of why I do it. I don't try to do it to be disrespectful, but we had her on, and people get angry that she's elected to that position, or maybe elected. She
Yeah,
was appointed by the
appointed, yeah.
governor. The governor thinks she'll do a good job, but David Mullica, her husband, is on the county board, and Armour, her dad, is on the school board. They win the elections. Suck it up and find somebody better that can beat them. It's like the Cindy Banyai runs for every possible open seat on every board. It was the same way with Ribble. He ran for everything until he finally found a spot that he could park his ass in. And
You're so hard.
Banyai's the same thing. I mean, you're running for things and your message is terrible. That's why you don't get voted in. If your message was better, you would win. I mean, don't you agree with that? Like, your message is a winning message. That's why you're the mayor.
well, I don't know, but I think if you go into a job in the political world and you're doing it for the right reasons, people will see that and they'll respond to it. And I think people can see through crap pretty quickly if they feel that something is you're doing it for the wrong reasons. They can sense that too. So, I've heard it from a lot of people. Kevin Wayne said something to me back when I first started running in 2000, whatever it was, 18, 19. And then it stuck with me to this day. And it's about everything. It's not just about politics, but he said very distinctly, he said, you've got to surround yourself with the people that don't like you or don't disagree with you. Because if you hang around with the same 10
Don't
people,
agree with you. Don't agree with you.
yeah, don't necessarily or understand you or know who you are. Because if you hang around with the same 10 to 20 people that tell you you're great all the time, you're going to start to believe that you're great, and then that leaves no room for improvement. I'm ad-libbing a little bit to what he said, but essentially it was, don't surround yourself with yes people. Don't surround yourself with people who are going to pat you on the back all the time and tell you how great you are. You got to get in front of the people who don't like you or don't like what you're doing or have an opinion on what you're doing and how you could get it better, and that's how you will grow.
Lastly, I did get pulled over yesterday. I want to set the record straight for anyone that thinks.
They just pulled in and they're here to pick you up. Did you pay your fine?
The thing was weird because as I see the lights in my rearview mirror, I'm thinking, okay, I got to get out of the way. He needs to get somewhere important. And then I realize he's pulling me over. And it's like, this is what I said this yesterday. This is what I wish the sheriff's department wouldn't do when they pulled you over. How's your day going today? I mean, that's the first question out of his mouth. Like, he's being like, I just felt like looking at him like, all right.
Yeah.
And I wasn't not going to be a wise ass or anything like that. I had my hands at 10 and 2. I had my driver's license.
Unless as a sense of humor, they followed up with, how's your day going? It's about to get a lot worse.
Yeah. And he was, the deputy was totally nice. And I rolled through the stop sign. The reason I'm bringing this up is don't roll through the stop sign at Margaritaville. You need to stop for 3 full seconds so your vehicle rolls back. That's a full stop. You could beep at me all you want now. I'm the guy that drives the speed limit in the left lane on I-75 and on 41 on Daniels. I'm the guy you're beeping at because I don't like to break the rules. So I feel like
Well, you're breaking the rules by being the slow guy in the fast lane.
So he was very nice. I got a warning, and they were the deputies were very nice about it, and they really want.
I wish you'd have thrown you in the back of the car.
But I took a picture.
Imagine
of
the people that would have taken pictures
Yeah.
of that.
I should have said, "Can you rough me up a little bit? Put some cuffs on me, just to give the haters some love with that." So somebody was across the street, of course, taking pictures. I knew who the person was. I said, "Do me a favor, send me those pictures. I have to be the one to post it the first time because I'm the first schmuck that posts everybody getting stuck in the sand. So if I ever got stuck in the sand or something like that, you have to be able to take it yourself if you're going to dish it out." which is what I did. I put it up there, and but it was thankfully it was only rolling through.
You
a
need
stop
some
sign.
bumper music for your show. You get breaking the law.
Yeah.
Breaking the law.
When was the last? I think I know the answer to this, and then we'll wrap it up. But when was the last time you got pulled over?
It was after this. Well, speaking of the Jeep, it was after the storm. We had bought Megan's Jeep, and my daughter was in town, and we went out to Santa. The first time we had been able to get out to Captiva, and we went to Monkey Duck to have lunch. And on our way back, we got pulled over by Sanibel's Finest, who were excellent, by the way. And I saw it coming. We're going down Sand Cap Road, and we saw 2 squad cars coming this way, and I watched them turn around and get right behind us. Thought, oh, we're getting pulled over for something. So we pull over, and 2 more squad cars come up, and they come out with their guns out, and we're like, "Oh boy!" And they walk,
Wow.
and they walk up to the window, and they said, "Do you know why we pulled you over?" I said, "I have no idea." And of course, I've got my hands where you're supposed to have your hands, so everything's fine. He says, "You're driving a stolen vehicle." I said, "Well, what do you mean I'm driving a stolen vehicle? I just bought this vehicle." Long story short, someone, because we were living in a camper over at the Buttonwood location, and someone had stolen the license plate off of our new car and put it on a stolen car and got away. So but they put their plate on our car, and I never even noticed it. So we had a stolen car's plate on ours. So, of course, it's brand new. So Megan's scrambling to try to find the registration and all that. And my daughter's in the back on the phone with my ex saying, "Mom, Dad's going to jail." And of course, I'm just sitting there, right? And so they take the VIN number and they run it. They got my ID, and they come back up, and they were very nice. And like, we figured out what's going on.
Crazy. Did you think they?
But they had to take the license plate because it was stolen. So our car had to sit. So we had to call to get someone to come and tow us. And
Do you think there's no way that they saw the plate? Was it the flock cameras?
It picked up the reader as we were going on the Sanibel Causeway. It picked up the stolen plate in our car. So they were looking for us.
Yeah.
And we just happened to be driving by.
That's what everybody should remember about those flock cameras. They are watching everything you do in your vehicles, and they're on this island. They have flock cameras on they're everywhere in this state. Yep.
They're excellent for people who think that invade your privacy. Well, if you're not doing anything wrong, they're not invading your privacy. In our case, we weren't doing anything wrong.
If you're not stealing vehicles like you are, then
but so the deputy was actually really great when he came back and kind of figured out what was going on. He's like, "We knew something was up because this is definitely not a white Mercedes." I said, "Yeah, that's the furthest thing from a
you
white
don't have
Mercedes.
a Mercedes? That was in your garage
no, so
at the time.
we literally had to go directly to the DMV to get a new license plate and report ours stolen. So
all right,
it was a whole mess.
All right, you got to learn how to read ads when we grow this empire that we're working on here. Big hand for the mayor, everybody. Dan Allers. Before you hang up the phone, everybody, remember, we have these sponsors that we need to take care of that I need to tell you about, including the Islands Pancake House. We were doing our show Friday night in Cape Coral, and Brian from the Pancake House was sitting at the bar there. He lives in Cape Coral. He came and watched the show. And in return, we'd appreciate it if you guys stop by the Islands Pancake House. They have all indoor dining with air conditioning. It's ice cold at the Islands Pancake House. Free parking, a full bar, and they have a brand new location on Big Pine Key. It's the Islands Pancake House Bar and Grill at mile marker 30, where they serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner. The Island Pancake House, right up there in the Sea Grape Plaza, owned by the Parking Nazi. 306 Seminole Way is going to be auctioned off before you know it. The final date is May 28th. It's a luxury property auction. It will sell to the highest bidder. No, you cannot bid your used car or broken Jeep and a bag of dimes. Yeah, I got to put a real bid on that. It's a lovely house. We did a walkthrough a few weeks ago. It really is nice. It's on like a cul-de-sac canal is the way I try and refer to it. Like they got in the backyard, they got this big giant plop of mangroves in the middle of the canal where you could kind of ride your boat around, and the houses it's really cool. You should go down and check it out. 306 Seminole Way. Open houses are every weekend from 1 o'clock until 4 o'clock. And it's being listed by our good friend, Alex King, and also Justin O'Hara of Premier Plus Realty. 306 Seminole Way. If you know where the women's club used to be and the laundromat used to be, it's right down there behind there. Danny, I thought you were coming to town, man. Where are you? You're here in town and you decided not to come to the show? And finally, homes by Power Block Builders. They're an elevated home builder. You want your home elevated, and they're committed to helping families and communities recover after the devastating impact of the hurricane. The team specializes in creating resilient, safe, and beautifully crafted homes. Please call the sales office of Power Block Builders. Their phone number is 849-1919. 849-1919. Ask for Oscar, and that's OZKR. I like how he spells his name, with a Z in it. How many people do you know have a Z in their name? Thank you all for tuning in, and join us again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock as we broadcast live from the Fort Myers VFW, the Fort Myers Beach VFW, right on the other side of the 7-Eleven over there, behind the 7-Eleven. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Have a great Sunday. Go Knicks. Bye-bye.